G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we're going to learn how to make this really pretty wall hanging. This would look great in a kid's room or in an adult's. It can be made in various colours, and once you get started you're not going to be stopping with ideas. There is a free written pattern for this project and the link that you need is in the description box. So let's get started on the lesson. For our supplies, what we're going to need is some yarn. I will be using the Red Heart Shimmer, and this is the white one. It comes in various different colours. It is an 8 ply or a double knit yarn. It does say a number 4 for the American thickness, but this really I would say is number 3. It's a lot thinner than a worsted weight yarn. So this yarn recommends a 4mm crochet hook. So if you've got yarn that recommends a 4mm crochet hook, then that's what I'm using. I will, however, be using a 3.5 or an E size crochet hook. I want to get tighter tension than normal. So if you need to drop down another crochet hook, then go for it. I want tight tension. It's up to you. Depends on what look you want. But that's what I'm choosing. This can be used with a worsted weight or a 10 ply yarn, and if you're using that one I would recommend a 5mm or a 5.5mm or a H or an I size crochet hook. I chose this one because it's got a little bit of sparkle. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle for sewing in your ends, and a ring. I got this ring, and I'll show you the brand, what it is. I got this in a Spotlight store, and Spotlight is available in Australia, it's in New Zealand, and I'm pretty sure it's in Singapore, and it could even be Malaysia. But it's just a craft store. It sells yarn, it sells fabric, everything for craft. What else does it sell? It sells furnishings. I think it's a little bit like Michael's and maybe Hobby Lobby from my understanding. So there's all different things you can get there, and it's a galvanized ring. I'm not actually sure what they're used for. So it's a 200mm, or a 20cm ring, and it was $3.49, so it's quite cheap. And it's I'm trying to push the sides in, but it doesn't go in, and it's just soldered there. I'm sure this is used for some sort of craft, but honestly I really don't know what it's used for. They come in all different sizes. Like I said, this is a 20cm, and there was really big ones which would look awesome too, but I thought this was a good size to fit on the camera and also for a project. So you're going to need something like that. You could also use a embroidery hoop. I think they're made of timber. Anything that's a ring. So I'm going to put that to the side because we don't need that quite yet. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow the video that is for the round granny rug that I have, or granny blanket. I am going to insert some footage into this video, and it's going to be part of the rug pattern, but it's going to use rainbow colours. And it'll show you how to change colours if you want to, and also if you just want to make it the one colour, it's going to show you how to do that as well. If you want to make it bigger than what I say in the next part of the tutorial, you can follow the granny stitch rug. It's not granny square rug because it's round. It's a round rug, and it uses what I would call the granny stitch, so it uses the 3 double crochets into the one space. So if you want to make it bigger than what it is in the video, the link for that is in the description box of this video, and you can go and follow that, and it's exactly the same as this. But I'm going to insert the first few rounds into this video, and then once we have this complete, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. And what I did is I grabbed hold of my ring, and I put it inside, and you're going to stretch it out. It's going to be stretched out a little bit. Let's move that up so you can see. It's going to be stretched out a little bit, and that's going to look really cool. So you want it just a little bit smaller than the ring. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our yarn. Now I'm going to grab my yellow, and somewhere there is an end. Anybody see it? There it is. And we can use a magic circle, or we can chain 4 and join with a slip stitch. So I will just choose the magic circle. So to make a magic circle, I just lay my yarn on top of the other piece, the main strand, put my crochet hook in the middle, pull through, and then that's our magic ring. So I just do a chain to secure, and that will stop it falling apart. But we're going to crochet into this bit. Can make it a little bit smaller. So we're going to do our beginning shell. So that's chain 3 and 2 double crochet into the ring. And also in the written pattern, it doesn't tell you to do a beginning shell. I'm just double checking. Yeah, it doesn't tell you to do a beginning shell, but it is a chain 3 and then 2 double crochet. So we're going to chain 1. Like I said, the written pattern is a recipe rather than a word by word pattern. So I want to do this until we've got 5 groups of shells. So we've got 1. So do 3 more double crochet into the middle. And I'm going to assume that you know how to do a double crochet. If you're new to it, by the end of this project you will be an expert. So we're going to keep going until we have 5 groups of shells. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4, so we're doing a chain 1 in between. Chain 1, and we should have 5 groups, and they're all separated with a chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we are going to join to the top of the chain 3. So going under both loops of the top of the chain. And then slip stitch to join. We can pull that tighter, and we're going to sew in our ends later on. And I suggest that you sew your ends in at maybe at the end of each week, or you can do them as you go. So I will be using 2 rounds, and then sometimes I'll be using 1 round of a colour. So it won't have like a 2, 2, 2, 2 colour repeat. I will mix it up, and I think this gives it more of a, looks better visually, I think. But you can change colour however you like. But just remember, when we change colour, we need to join into the next chain 1 space from where we joined our project together. So I'm going to change colour, cut off my yarn, and then pull through. So we've just joined here, so into the next chain 1 space we're going to join a new colour. If you are not joining a new colour, what you do is you slip stitch, and this is on any round, if we don't change colour, we slip stitch into the tops of the next 2 double crochets, and then also up to the chain space, or up to the space depending on which round we're in, because we always want to start in between the groups of shells. But I'm not keeping the same colour, so I'm changing colour, joining into that chain 1 space. Whoops, don't want to join the same colour in. So my next colour is the pumpkin, so just joining that in. I'm going to just do a chain to secure, pull down on the short bit at the back, and now we want to increase in each chain 1 space. So what we do is we chain 3, and it always starts with the chain 3 and then 2 double crochets in the same space. So it's all worked into the same space. So an increase is a chain 1 and then 3 double crochets back into the same space. So we want to increase into the next one, so going into the next chain 1 space, work 3 double crochet, chain 1 and 3 double crochet. So when I say we're going to work an increase in the next one, that's what it means. In this whole round we work increases into every chain 1 space around. So if I'm going a bit too fast for you, you can just pause the video and catch up with me. So we're just doing an increase in every chain 1 space around. And this round you're going to look at it and go, that's not going to make a circle, but it will. So now we join to the top of the chain 3, and we always join each round at the top of the chain 3 with a slip stitch. So I'm not changing colour. If you are, you want to join it into the chain space over here. So if you're not changing colour, we just slip stitch across. You just slip stitch into the top of the 2 stitches there, and also the chain 1 space. So what we want to do now is work a shell and then increase in the next. So we're going to chain 3 and work our beginning shell, which is just 3 stitches. So it's a chain 3 and 2 double crochet in the same space. And now see this bit here? That's what we're going to do. We're going to work an increase in that space. So it's 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, into the next space we're going to work a shell, into the next space we're going to work an increase, into the next chain 1 space we're going to work a shell. So that's just 3 double crochet. So we're going to repeat this all the way around, and you may notice at the end of this round that it may ruffle a little bit. That's perfectly fine because it will even out. So we're working an increase in this one. It will even out as we go around. So we're alternating between a shell and an increase, and we're working into the space and the chain, and the chain 1. So it's a shell, and a chain 1. And somehow we have a knot. give you some time to catch up if you needed to. So we've got an increase in this one, so we want to do 3, chain 1 and 3. We're going to repeat that around, so it should lay flat. It will ruffle a little bit, like I said, it will even out onto the next round. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we're ready. To join, we need to join in the top of the chain 3. And I'm going to change colour. So I'm going to finish that off. And join into the next space. If you're not, you're going to slip stitch across until you're up to that space. So we're going to chain 3. My first chain was just to secure that to there. So now we're up to 1, 2, 3, we're up to round 4. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a shell in each space around, and there's no more chaining 1. So going into that same space, we're going to work 2 double crochet. Into the next chain 1 space, we're going to work 3 double crochet. And we're going to work a shell in each chain 1 space and space around. So we want to repeat this, and then pause the video and I will catch you when we are ready to join. Ready to join, so we're going to join into the top of the chain 3. And then join with a slip stitch. So I will be changing colour now, so I'm going to cut off my yarn. And I really am making my colour changes up as I go. I have not got this planned out so far. So our next colour is pink. And I do have my yarn set up next to me on the floor in a bucket. Quite a big bucket because it's quite a lot of yarn. And I have all my colours in order. Just thought I would show you what I mean. So they're all in order of the way that I'm going to use them. So yellow, orange, red, they're pink, purple, that'll be blue, purple, green, and then it just goes around like so. And that's the order that I'll use the colours. So I've changed colours and I'm going to join into the next space. Remember, if you're not changing colours, you're going to slip stitch across to this space. So pop that in there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 up to round 5. And it says we want to shell in the next 2 spaces and increase in the next. So we want to do our chain 3 and then work 2 double crochet in the same space. Oops, my yarn split there. Just going to zoom out a little bit. So it was in the next 2 spaces. We want to do a shell in the next one. And then increase in the next one. So it's going into there and working out increase. So that is this round repeat. It's 1 by itself, 1 by itself, and then an increase. So you've got shell, shell, increase. So we need to do that again. So it's a shell, a shell, and then an increase. So it's our 3, 1, 3. So if you find that I always like to massage it, it's weird, isn't it? Massage it flat. If you find that yours will not massage flat and it's like a bowl, congratulations, you've made a crochet bowl. But if that's not what you're aiming for, you're going to need a bigger crochet hook. It means your stitches are way too tight and they're going ee, and they're not laying flat. So we want to repeat this around, going shell, shell, increase. And I will meet you when we are ready to join. So pause the video and I'll see you in just a sec. Now I just noticed that these two colours were in the wrong spot. I had it going orange, red, pink, blue, purple. And isn't that weird how before I said purple? My mind was doing the colour wheel, but I didn't have my colours in order. So it needs to go this way. So it's yellow, orange, red, pink, purple, blue, green. When we come around, we are ready to join. So we're joining into the top of our chain 3. And from now on, I won't be showing you that every single round because you're going to get sick of that pretty quick. And every round is joined the same. So it's always joined to the top of the chain 3. I'm going to continue with this colour, so I'm going to slip stitch across. And also into the space there. But if you are changing colour, just make sure you join it into this space. We joined here, you're going to join it over there. What we need to do now is work an increase first. So it's chaining 3 and then working our increase. So we've got our increase. Then we're going to work a shell into the next 3 spaces. So that's 2. Just notice on the camera this looks quite purple, but it's actually a bright pink colour. I'm not sure what colour it's coming up on your screen. So it's an increase 1, 2, 3. And we are going to repeat this all the way around. So it's an increase. And then 3. That's 1 shell. The second shell. And then the third shell. We're going to repeat this all the way around, doing an increase and then shell, shell, shell. Pause the video and I'll meet you on the next round. So again, if you're going to change colour, you're going to join it into the next space, or you're going to slip stitch across. So we are up to round 7. Round 7 is going to be your best friend in this project because you are going to use it all the time. It's very popular in this one. So we're going to chain 3. My first chain of that was just to secure that in. And we're going to work a beginning shell. So it's a chain 3 and 2 double crochet, and we're going to shell in every stitch, or every space I should say, every space around. And we're not doing any chains in this round at all, it's just working shells in every space. And we are going to repeat this around, and I will meet you when we are ready to start the next round. I will be continue on with the same colour, so I want to slip stitch across. If you're changing colour, make sure you join your yarn into this space here. And this is going to be round 8. Want to shell in the next 2 spaces and increase in the next. Now remember how I said that some rounds start midway through a repeat? Well, this is one of those ones. So don't freak and go, that really didn't make sense, that increase. It will make sense as we go around. And what happens is we kind of start halfway in our repeat, but when we come back around this side, it will finish it off. So we're going to do a chain 3. Work our shell, so it's 2 double crochet. We want to do it into the next 2 spaces, so that's our first one, and this is our second. Just excuse me, I forgot to grab yarn before I started, because they're new balls of yarn, they just get stuck, which can be a pain. So it's into the next 2 spaces and then increase in the next. So it's chain 1. Oopsie. And then it says shell in the next 4 spaces this time and then increase in the next. So I'm going to go do in the next 4. So that's 3, so we need to do 4 altogether, and then we're going to increase in the next. Okay, so it's an increase and then shell, 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 so that's 4, and then increase. So repeat that around, so it's increase and then 4 shells, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to repeat this all the way around, and I will meet you on the next round. So when we come around, remember how I said you'll finish off your increase or your repeat? So we're going to increase there, 1, 2, and then we joined, and then 3, 4, increase. So it just evens it out when we come back around, finishes that off. I'm going to change colour, so I'm going to join into the next space from our join. And my next colour is my favourite in the whole wide world. And that's a lot of yarn colours. So this is the start of round 9. And this is turquoise blue. Love it. So we're going to do our beginning shell. Doesn't matter if we start with an increase or not, we've always got to do that beginning shell. And this one says shell in the next 5 spaces, increase in the next. So that's our number 1. Two, 3, 4, and whoop, 5. I always try and hold my finger over here because I find sometimes when I do a granny, see how it just got stuck in the stitch here? I find if I hold my fingers there on my thumb, it kind of covers up where it can get caught onto. Just a little tidbit for today. So it was the next 5 spaces and then increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. And this is the repeat for this round. So that's a repeat for that round. So I will meet you when we are ready to start the next round. So I finished off my round and now I'm going to join my new colour into the next space from our join. And this is round 10, and what we're going to do is we are going to repeat round 7. So remember, we always start with our shell. And round 7 was 1 shell in every space around. And we're going to repeat this all the way. And I will meet you when we are ready to start the next round of our project. I don't know about you, but I'm loving the rainbows and how it's all changing. So please share your creation on our Facebook page. I would love to see the progress that you have so far in your blanket. And yeah, I'd love to see what colours you're using too. So repeat a round and I'll meet you on the next round. So once we have it big enough and it's just slightly smaller than the ring, I would say it's probably 1/4 of an inch or about 1 centimetre smaller than the actual diameter. No, that's not circumference? I don't know. I think it's circumference. It's about 1 centimetre smaller. You can see the little bit of gap we've got there. So what we're going to do is we're going to crochet around going into each stitch. And what we're going to do is put 2 single crochets in each double crochet around. But at the same time, we're going to be crocheting around the ring. This is about the 4th time I've filmed this because it's really awkward to get on camera. Sorry, I'm I'm laughing because you should have seen it. It's really, really awkward. It doesn't look it on camera, but trust me, it is. Anyway, I've got this metal thing in the way and I can't move it because the bench is in the way. But the show must go on. So what we're going to do... Stop laughing for a start. We're going to go into the stitch, around the back of the ring with our crochet hook. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through the stitch like normal. And grab our yarn and complete our single crochet. We want to do that one more time and we're going back into the same stitch. So back in the same stitch. And the reason we're doing 2, if we do 1, the metal ring is still showing. So we want 2 so that it completely covers up the ring and doesn't show through. So we go into the stitch, around the back. Can you see how my crochet hook is around the back? Put this out the way. See how it's around the back of the ring? Yeah, and this is with practice, so you could just imagine what it looked like before. grab the yarn, pull through your crochet, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 stitches. So in the next stitch we're going to go in, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2. And I realise I'm doing this really awkwardly because that's the only way I can get it to work. Go back into the stitch. Probably can't even tell on the camera. Pull up a loop, grab the yarn and pull through 2. It is a lot easier when you don't have a bench and a video camera in the way, trust me. So it's 2 stitches in there, yeah. So again, in the next stitch, behind the ring, grabbing your yarn, pulling up, grabbing your yarn and pulling through 2. Again, in the same stitch. And we're going to repeat this. Oh, this is, oh, jeez. Get that and pull that through. Oh, I wish I had another camera set up that was sort of filming me filming, because you could see how funny it looks from my angle. You're only seeing part of the circus. Okay, so we're going to repeat this all the way around. So just one more time, go in the next stitch and we're going to work 2 single crochets. We're going behind the ring, grabbing the yarn, pulling up, grabbing the yarn and pull through 2. If you find that that's not enough stitches, you could even do 3 in the same. So we're going to do this all the way around until we get back to here, and I'll meet you when we're ready to join. So we're up to the end and this looks so pretty. I love it, I really do. And also, that was a lot easier to crochet off camera. So we're going to find the very first stitch and we're going to go into the top and we're going to grab our yarn and pull through and then pull through that loop there. Going to grab our scissors and we're going to cut off about 2 inches of yarn. Just going to pull that through there. If you want to, you could make a chain with that, or you could just loop that down, just loop that down and then sew it in place so there's a little loop at the top in case you wanted to hang it up like that. Just depends, I think I might actually do that myself. Depends on how you want to hang it up. You could make a separate chain, sew it on, you could do all sorts of things. So I'm going to grab that and go through there. That's better. Now you can see what I'm doing. You can see the towel that I had to put down to make it stop bashing. I'm just going to tie a knot here. Just to stop that from coming out, and then I'm going to rethread that. Turn it to the back. And I'm just going to sew my ends so that you can't see them, and just do it on the back because that way if you can see them for some reason that it'll be on the back and no one's going to notice. Oh, this is a little bit harder sewing your ends because of that ring. Awesome. It's got a little hangy uppy thingy. And you also need to sew in this beginning one. What I like to do, and it's easier to sew in your ends when you've done a granny square, especially that starting one, is I just go around. See the double crochets come into the center I just go around and go underneath the stitches that are here. And then I just work my way around. And you don't have to sew in too much for this because it's not something that you're going to be wearing or it's going to get washed, so the ends really aren't going to work themselves out maybe as much as if it was going to be worn. So I always cut sort of a little bit away from the project because I've cut it before and cut my project and not the tail. So now we have, let's see if we can zoom out a bit. We now have the beginning bit, and now we're going to make the tails that you see, the bits that hang down on the bottom. You can do this any way that you like. You could use ribbon, you could use yarn, leather, all sorts of things. Google Images or Pinterest is a perfect way to get inspiration. So what you want to do is find something that is almost twice as long. This is about 1.5 times as long or as wide as that ring. After saying get some inspiration off Google Images, I went and looked at Google Images to see how long the dangly parts are. And it's usually longer than what the circle is wide. So this is just a lid from a storage box that I have, so I'm just going to use that. You could use a book, you could just eyeball it if you wanted to, but I'm not that talented. And we're just going to wind it around. So I'm just putting that at the base and I'm winding it around like so, and then doing that again. And I'll show you the back. I'm sure you know how to do this. Just winding it around the lid, and I'm going to keep doing that. I would say 30 times, 40 times, depending on how full you want the part on the bottom. Once you have it wound up, grab your scissors and we're just going to cut the yarn. I've seen lots of these projects. I don't know if I said it before. I know I was thinking it. They use lace and all sorts of things that string. Cut that one off too. You can always trim it later if it's not long. There's little long bits everywhere. Yeah, they use lace and leather and feathers and all sorts of things. But I'm just going to use yarn for this project because I just want to make it so that you can use probably what you've already got in your house. And some of you are probably going, oh, what a waste of yarn. I'm sure I would say that too. But I think this is going to look gorgeous. So I'm just, off camera, I'm just grabbing 2 pieces and then I'm just making sure they're level. So just making sure they're equal. They're not going to be exact, but they're pretty close. Then we're going to fold it in half. So I've got 2 pieces of yarn and we're going to put the 2 ends together. Find this end. And then if you've got your hangy thing, your little hangy uppy thingy up the top, you're just going to go straight down from that and as close as you can find the bottom loop. So I'm just eyeballing it, I'm not going to count it. And you can go through one of the stitches, put your yarn onto your crochet hook and loop it over, pull through and get your loop and put your tails through the loop. And then you could also make sure it's even now before you pull it straight. and then pull until the knot secures up there. Don't pull too tight because you might stretch out your stitches. So I'm just hanging it up like that to make sure that's pretty much in the center, which it is. It's going to be at the bottom. So now what you're going to do is evenly work your way across that way and then across that way as well. So do one on this side, one on that side, one on this side, one on that side, and keep going until you have all of your strands attached. After I did it every stitch, I decided to space them out and do it every second stitch. I found with this yarn that it was too bulky with doing it every stitch, and I do like the effect more when you skip a stitch. So there's an empty stitch in between the two tassels. And here is my finished wall hanging. I really love this. I do prefer it with the tassels spaced out a lot more. It was very narrow when I put them in every stitch. Hey, you can add as much as you want. You could keep going around the sides, but I think for me this is as much as what I want to do. This would look awesome in a kid's room as well. But no kids here, so hey, it looks good in an adult room too. So please share your creations on Facebook. I love to see what you've been up to, and also colours and the yarn that you're using. Tag me on Instagram if you're over on Instagram. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy crochet. Sorry about that, I had to put a towel down on the bench because it kept banging onto the bench and be really noisy. So I've got my crochet in front, and we're going to complete our single crochet. Going into the stitch, pull up a loop, so grabbing your yarn, pull up a loop like so. So it's just a single crochet, but you're trapping. And this is really awkward to do on camera, PS, by the way. But we shall continue. We go into the stitch, grab the loop. It's really hard to show you what I'm doing as well as actually do it at the same time. And then complete our crochet. And I realise I'm holding my hook really weird, but that's just working for me right at the moment. So into the stitch. We're just working into each... what is it, a double crochet along. So grabbing the yarn, trapping the ring, pulling up, and then completing the stitch. There we go, getting a little bit of speed up there. And you'll see that it gets crocheted onto the ring. Okay, that needs to